This is Lindsay. It is Monday, August 4th, 2025, and I am just going to do a recording about something that I'm reading that correlates with my situation. Obviously, we're pertaining to gang stalking. So I'm going to read this. First, I'm going to talk about more of what. So now these people are scrambling right now as far as the ones that are doing the smear campaign, because they don't know what the fuck to do, because they don't know what I'm going to do next, and I'm not planning on telling any of them, because it's all about control, and control my money, and control power, and control over my path in life, or whatever the fuck it is I'm trying to do to these people. And I have the right to contact whoever I want, to make my own decisions. If I want to consult with a certain individual or whatever, that's my choice. No matter what these people do to try to infiltrate or interfere with my life, it's not going to work, because I have higher authority, spiritual authority working with me, and protection, divine protection for my ancestors, as well as probably some others. And I just don't really give a fuck what these people think. They can continue with the shaming, the smear campaigning, the gaslighting, the gang stalking, all that stuff. It just has basically no effect on me. My problem is that all the stress and anxiety that they cause you when you're trying to just do something or get, that's what bothers me. It's not these fucking people. It's the stress, physiological stress that it has, as far as doing what I do every fucking day and being treated like I'm in the fucking military, or like I'm some kind of a goddamn robot or machine forced to perform, and being pressured. And they know what they're doing. These people know good and well the tactics that they're using to try to make me go crazy. It's all done. It's all psychological warfare. And I've been going through this for so many years, for so long, that, they change the people around, they change the tactics and whatnot, but I still recognize it for what it is, because I'm not stupid. I'm not as oblivious as I think I am. Some little sheep, little follower, order follower, whatever. I'm way beyond that. I have advanced levels that these people are never going to get to, because of my mind and the way my mind works, and the patterns that I see, and how I connect things easily, just by naturally connecting things and figuring stuff out, because I have psychic abilities. And that also makes them angry. Anything that you have naturally that you can do, these people get jealous, envious, and they act out when you don't pay attention to them, or they'll do stupid things to try to get your attention, to distract you. And this is constantly the shit they're doing to me. Trying to distract me, trying to get me to react, seeing how I react to certain things or certain people. And it's just, I don't have to explain myself to anybody. I'm not a walking apology. I'm just living my life. I don't give a fuck if these people or whatever like me or not. I couldn't care less, because I already know that they don't. And quite frankly, it's not my fucking goal in life to try to kiss up to people that are never gonna understand me or accept me. I don't give a shit. I have the free, the problem, like I said, is that a lot of these people, it's their own culture, it's their own ignorance, that the way they already judge people according to, just their fundamental lack of knowledge, or lack of insight, or that's just how a lot of people are. And I've gotten accustomed to that, especially living in this city, where the majority of the people are Chicano or Hispanic, and they're Catholic. And nothing against that. I'm spiritual and I'm religious, and I believe in God. But my God, the way they shame you and try to categorize you if you're somebody who's outspoken or a little bit different. Woo! Wow. To talk about attacking you using antiquated shit that they do to attack a person. Whatever, let them do it. I like I said, who fucking cares? I don't care. It is what it is, and it just shows that they're ignorant if they do that. This is a very San Antonio is extremely, depending on where you are, but for the most part, it's a very non-progressive city. It's very traditional, non-progressive, and it's so different from what I grew up in Houston. I've lived in Austin. I lived in LA. But deep down, I'm a traditional, for the most part, person, and I have morals and values, and I know who I am, and I'm not going to let anybody define who I am. Fuck it. Fuck what they think. I don't care. And yeah, I cuss. I don't give a shit what these fucking people think. If they want to think, let them think. Go ahead. Have fun with your stupid labeling. So anyway, because what they're doing, another thing about gang stalking that you need to know if you're really a targeted individual, which some people are, legit targets put into this fucking security harassment program, and that's exactly what it is. It's like these people will contract out people who work in the private sector, whether it be Blackwater, whatever the fuck, private security companies, Blackwater, that's more military though, but they'll hire these, like, what they call rent-a-cop, or security guards that are not quite sworn police officers, but people who have some authority. And they'll hire the, I guess kind of like, in a way, they're like probation officers or corrections officers or whatever the hell it is that they are. And they'll put you in a program like this, like with me, done by my own fucking stupid, asshole, arrogant little shit fucking brother who I can't stand. Whatever, dumbass, arrogant little fucking entitled shit, Carter, because of his anger, because he didn't get his way with that probate stuff, because he's a little arrogant shit, like I said, these people think that I'm so dumb, and but they use that I'm crazy, mentally ill for standing up for myself. What they did to me was so completely fucking wrong, and that's why I continue to fight, because I didn't do anything to deserve this. It's my inheritance, my money. They can't steal what's legally mine. So, whatever, just because they don't like my lifestyle or the fact that I don't have kids or whatever, fuck that. I don't give a fucking shit. It's my life. And if they're jealous or yes, that's too fucking bad. Not my fucking problem. I live my life. It's my life. They can't dictate who I am or the decisions I make, as long as I'm not doing anything illegal, which I'm not, but they want to portray me as someone who I'm not, so that they can continue to try to control my life and my assets and my decisions and everything like that. And I have the ability to make my own fucking decisions. So that's what they do. They ruin your life with this stupid fucking psychiatric system, the police, all that crap. But let me read something from Quora that's about, the question is, why do private investigators hire gang stalkers to harass victims of workers' compensation cases? Well, okay, yeah, that means, obviously workers' compensation, somebody gets hurt on the job, and so they're filing a lawsuit. But the same thing can fall into the category of, we could change that to, why do private investigators hire gang stalkers to harass victims of workplace mobbing, or people who are whistleblowers, let's just say, because that's my situation. So let's change it to, let's say, because they do the same thing with whistleblowers or people who go against a corporation, like at Gold's Gym, for example. So I have a good example that I'm going to use, and this is what they do to me at Gold's Gym, because Gold's Gym's a corporation, or there are a few franchise locations, but this is what they did to me throughout the past 10 fucking years at Gold's Gym, for example. So this pertains to me, except it's not involving workers' compensation, but it is involving the fact that I did have an injury, that is to say a broken hip, in 2013. So they fuck with me about why I go to the gym and why I use certain machines, because I have a fucking metal rod in my goddamn hip, you dumb fucking idiots. So they they make fun of me all the fucking time about how I exercise and why I do what I do. Fuck you. Fuck you. For you dumb fucking people. You don't fucking have any fucking idea what I've conquered or what I've survived. So go ahead and fucking laugh all the fuck you want. But you know what? One of these days you might fall down on your fucking ass and break your fucking hip and get a goddamn implant in your fucking hip. Or maybe a fucking metal plate in your fucking head. And for that matter, for those of you that think it's so fucking funny, that make fun. But anyway, so these people are just petty, stupid, judgmental idiots that think they're better than everybody else, and they just judge and laugh and mock people and try to pinpoint all your insecurities and highlight your insecurities and make you feel worthless and inferior. But who gives a fuck what they fucking think? Because that's not true. I believe in myself, and that's all I need. I don't need anybody. I don't need a fucking crowd to applause for. I never wanted that shit. I just want to be left the fuck alone, quite honestly. But and be in privacy. So here's an how can someone? Well, that's a question. That's a question. Why do private investors? But here's another question that I'm gonna read the answer to on Quora that somebody answered. But this is interesting because I have a lot to comment about this. How can someone prove they are being targeted by gang stalking or some form of electronic harassment? Okay, well, let's dive into this one, because this topic gets real deep. There are many ways to prove it, technologically, physically, physical evidence, etc. However, it is a complete waste of your time. Frankly, they want you to try to prove it. And this is somebody named Kim Costello who wrote this answer. And it says, I don't know who somebody I've been following on Quora. It says she thrown into the fire only to emerge a burning phoenix. Okay, Kim Costello. I don't know who she is. She's some lady. But this is what she says. She answered a question. There are many ways. Okay, so frankly, they want you to try to prove it. The goal is to take up as much of your energy as possible, whether it be through frustration, anger, grief, sadness, etc. They feed off it. They get off of it. These are very sick people with no drive or ability to build things themselves. They are damaged and unhealed and seek to damage others. Well, anyway, my computer just fucked up and I lost what I was talking about. The whole thing just crashed. Or that what I was reading, it what happened to it? Well, let's see if I can find it again in my. Let's see. I'm sorry about the interruption, but here we go. So back. Okay, sorry for the interruption, and here, let me see if I can find it again. So their goal is to take up as much energy as possible, whether it be through frustration, anger, grief, sadness, etc. They feed off it. They're very sick people with no drive or ability to build their own things themselves. They're damaged and unhealed and seek to damage others. Their goal is to get energy. Yeah, they're energy vampires. These people, in other words, they're the gang stalkers, the flying monkeys sent by the narcissist, because there's always some fucking handler who's in charge of this. They are, flying monkey gang stalkers. And their goal is just to fucking damage you. They're energy vampires. They don't like that you have something about you that makes them angry, something about you that they want to take away. They want your energy. It's up to you to... It is for you to expend your energy in any way toward what they are doing. Even if you are just trying to prove it or solve it, they still have you. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, that's why people, whenever... Let me comment about that. So whenever you're put into this program of harassment and gang stalking, organized gang stalking on a daily basis, everywhere you go by groups of people, of course they're going to discredit you, number one. They're going to say, what are you talking about? Why would anybody be doing that to you? You're nobody important. You're nobody of any value in the community. So what are you talking about? That's the first thing that people do, is they accuse you of being crazy, usually. Or you need to go get help. You need to go see a psychiatrist. You're crazy. You're delusional. You're schizophrenic. They'll tell you you're schizophrenic and this shit, crap like that. So, even if you're just trying to prove it, they still have you. That they want you to spend all this fucking time and energy trying to prove yourself. So you'll notice that a lot of targeted people go around filming things with their phones all the time and filming things that look like staged car accidents or color harassment, shit like that. But it's really just I used to do that too. I would film things out in public with my phone at the grocery store, or sometimes when I'd be driving, and it just is futile because it's very useless to do that, because these people, number one, nobody gives a shit, and number two, it's just like all you're doing is making the perpetrators more angry, and they're gonna really fuck with you even more when you start doing that. Because like I said, I used to go into the grocery store. They would stalk me and follow me around the goddamn HEB, and I would fucking film them, and then they'd start getting on their phones and calling the fucking security guards and shit like that, and then I'd be followed around by the security guards and whatnot in the grocery store because I was filming the gang stalkers. Because they were violating, they were following me all over the goddamn place. So I started fucking filming these dumb fucks and putting it on my YouTube channel. You're still putting through an effort into focusing on them rather than you. That's what they want. They're extreme narcissists and sociopaths and psychopathic sadists. They feel powerful when you focus on them. To even talk about these people gives them a fucking power trip, So don't give them the attention that they're begging you that they want. You can talk about it on a YouTube video or talk about it in a journal, but when in public, I just ignore these fucking people. I just ignore them, and that's what makes them so angry, is by ignoring them, because they're acting like arrested development adults, and half the time if they're using their kids, then that really shows how fucked up these people are. Okay? If they're using their kids to fucking gang stalk somebody, then that really shows that these people are mentally ill. Not you, they are. They're the ones who are crazy if they're gonna fucking do shit like that. Think about it. It's common sense. Why the fuck would anybody do this kind of shit to anybody? So they do not realize that they are wasting their lives trying to validate themselves through the suffering of others. The focus in your life should be on your life. They are trying to inject themselves into it by causing you discomfort and torment. Exactly. They're trying to inject themselves into your life, your privacy, your everything, so that they can become a part of the narrative. Because whatever the fuck is going on in their life, it must be pretty boring or whatever. They're always looking for something, some kind of entertainment or something to satiate their desire for a chaos. They love chaos and trauma, inducing trauma and problems into other people by basically vicariously living through other people. That's what they do. And you'll notice that a lot of these people that do this are addicted to fucking television, like reality TV shows and drama, like soap operas and just fucking drama. They're addicted to that kind of shit because they feed off of the energy of what's going on in these scripted people's lives. So they don't realize that they're wasting their lives trying to validate themselves through the suffering of others. So the focus on your life should be on your life. The legal system is fairly helpless in helping you in most cases. This is because much of what they do is not something you can prove well enough to convict. There have been cases where people were able to prove it, but they were rare, and truthfully, even if you win a court case, its phenomenon can continue unless you learn to ignore it. Exactly. It's gonna still fuck with you, okay? If you win a court case against these fucking dumbass, fucking gang stalking, fucking flying monkey fucktards, it's still gonna fucking follow you wherever the fuck you go. You can go move to Venezuela, you can go to South America, you can go to Europe, you can go to China, wherever the fuck you want to go, and guess what? The motherfuckers are still gonna fucking be there at the fucking airport waiting for your ass when you get off the fucking plane. That's a fact. Once you're on this targeted fucking list, you're on it for life, basically. So, yeah, because much of what they do is not something you can prove. There have been cases where people were able to prove it, but they're rare. Yeah, exactly. Because why? Because they use plausible deniability. And the distribution of the offenses amongst their group, i.e., in other words, is much more difficult to prove a group of people are doing something to you than an individual. Especially if that group is a secret society, i.e. the Freemasons or the Eastern Star or whatever little fraternal order or military something. None of them will admit being a part of it, and they take great care to hide it to everyone on the outside. Partially because they are afraid to have it turned on them by their group, in quotations, and also because they are terrified people will find out the sick things they are into. You see, these people, you wouldn't believe what some of these people are into. You'd be disgusted to know what some of these people do. You don't want to know what they do. And they do drugs, human trafficking, BDSM, sadistic and completely antisocial behavior. Their worst nightmare is to be exposed for this. I'm sure many of them would rather die than have their secrets in the public. Yeah, of course, because they live such shameful, dirty fucking lives, most of these people. They're just disgusting, fucking subhuman, nasty fucking people. I personally believe that this will become public. Probably think about Jerry Epstein, for example. Look at what these people get themselves into. Or look into Mark Passio when he talks about the red shoes and the empty swimming pools and all that shit with the killing these children to suck their blood. Which is adrenochrome with the elite, the adrenochrome rush that they get from killing a newborn child or an animal or a child. It's these sick fucking people will do all kinds of weird shit because they're sick. Sick. Mentally and physically often sick, sadistic people. Probably through a collection of evidence between everyone because we all have the fair share. I know I do have a huge amount of gigabytes and gigabytes. I'm a technologically savvy enough to be able to identify roots, kits, and malware on a phone, and on the computer. What do? Any device I suspect to be affected, I immediately retire and preserve. Yeah, exactly. Try not to touch it anymore for forensic purposes. If you can afford to have a digital forensic company take it and analyze it, if they find malware, they can make a solid enough case to get the FBI involved. Yeah, well, I've got a lot of my phones were tapped into, just like my computer is. So yeah, they'll do all kinds of crap to fucking and get the FBI, do these bogus investigations on you when you haven't done anything. However, be aware that the FBI could very well drop the ball or not follow up, as they are a bunch of hosers in my eyes. Losers or hoser. If you have a lot of devices and they're all being infected, it's going to be pretty goddamn hard for them to ignore it. You'll have to be able to pay to have these devices analyzed. And I don't ever know what would cost probably several $100s to several $1,000s per device. Now that I am thinking about it, I'm going to write an article about evidence collection. Establishing a chain of evidence that you can afford to do will ensure that the federal authorities will have no excuse not to follow up on it. Yeah, what a lot of targeted individuals do is they get a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. They do a request for that by the FBI, and then they'll find that, they wait all this time and they never get the documents of the FBI, the files that they requested. I did that several times to no avail. Here's another question by Anonymous, and let's read this one and let's dive in. Let's dissect this one for a little bit here. Why do I have gang stalkers harassing me? Well, number one, you're not afraid to tell the truth when it comes to power abuse in any institution, i.e., workplace mobbing in a corporate environment, in my case, and standing up for myself. When it comes to sexual harassment or being exploited financially, etc., in the legal system, exposing the fucking corrupt Canaanite fucking probate court shit. You offended someone in your family, workplace, school, etc., who is connected with someone who has power at the highest extent. Oh yeah, many a time I've gone down that route. You seem too perfect with your talent and personal life that some mentally insane people want to kick you down a notch. Jealous people will do anything to bring ruin to you, even if it meant serious harm. You won a court case from authority abuse. The so-called authorities can't take losses. This makes them vindictive. In order to justify the court case that you won was a fluke, they have to provoke you to reaction like spying, tailing, or stalking, so they can install doubt to the judge if there's another visit. You are like Socrates of Greece. You are a truth teller and an intellectual. Socrates was killed because he was teaching people how to stand up to corruption or resist it. You most likely have too much wisdom about many things. Yep. Why do gang stalkers gang stalk? They get paid. Some people do things such as talking dirty money for spying on their neighbors because they want the easy way out of earning real money. The authorities gave them false promises. When people are promised to wrong, they actually believe they will get what they want. But gang stalkers don't know that they are throwing themselves into a criminal situation in which they will be thrown under the bus along with the supposed target. Gang stalkers are living a dirty lifestyle themselves and want to cover up their deeds by pretending that they are serving the community by spying on other people. The authorities trap them into gang stalking program from like number 2, except the gang stalkers believe doing an unethical deed for authorities will get them off about a court case. Gang stalkers are doing what everyone else is doing. Doesn't matter if you've been good to them or were friends with them. If they see people doing foul things to you, they will join along to fit in, to not be a target themselves. Gang stalkers hate you for your religion, ethnicity, gender, or political affiliation and will gladly run to any entity that hates you. Gang stalkers truly believe they are protected. When people have false assurance that some people will have their back when they get themselves into sticky situations, they will gladly butt in their 2 cents. Otherwise, if a person knows they have no support, they won't participate in something that will lead to their downfall. How do you cope? Well, I know for myself, keep your head high. Just ignore them. And don't stop doing what you're doing as far as living your life. Just know that your gang stalkers are in a worse predicament than you. They are bombarded with texts and notifications about you. In addition, they are afraid that they won't be protected if anything gets crazy. It drives the gang stalkers and haters crazy when you do what you do consistently. Remember that life gives us what we dish out to other people. Gang stalkers and the authorities who dig graves for you often end up in bad situations themselves. Because it's about insurance money. They're trying to collect money on you because targeted individuals are seen as a liability. So, I can go on and on about examples of my gang stalking experience throughout the years and what they've done to me to try to drive me out of certain corporate environments or places. Oh my God. Oh yeah, but that it is what it is, and that's what people do. Some people, and just that's why I keep journals and document this stuff, because at the end of the day, they're going to lose. At the end of the day, if you still have your spirituality and your soul intact, at the end of the day, these motherfucking dumb fucks are going to lose their own battle. That's all I have to say about that for now.